My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
So today we will cover one of the section that include how to secure a website. So any idea, anyone? Yesterday I posted one question in our group. So I think only Mahesh will respond, right?
Yeah, the keep keep the softwares updated, do the checksums, don't have make sure which ports are open, which ports are closed. Only the ports that need to be open should be open.
Taufik, I have a question here. So are we securing the website through data center level in a different geographical region where if you're doing in the different geographical region, we'll be operating the NACL.
Yes.
NACL firewall.
Yes.
Okay.
Secure website, okay. So coming to we deployed so many websites, right? Like the steps that we followed, configure machine, virtual machine. Then what will we do? Install web server, right? I mean the requirement to deploy a web application. Requirement to deploy a web app. So these are the steps that we follow to fulfill this requirement. So installing any web servers, right? Like Apache, nginx or anything. Then we will copy the codes, right? Codes to the specific directory. So then we will how we will access the application after this. Copy the public IP, right, of the machine. Copy public IP and we use some ports, right, for accessing the application. For example, if the application is a web application, we use protocol HTTP. We use port number 80. Give me a second. All are good, right? These are the things that we followed in web application deployment. Coming any application, like we deploy different application from virtual machine level to Kubernetes, right? But these all the application when we deploy, these all things are not secure in web servers, right? So I will show you. So when we type anything here, okay, like AWS. So this site is secure. How we can say? Because here we can see connection secure. Function is secure. And we can see the certificate also here. Click the certificate. So this is a certificate the AWS used for securing this website. So how they secure using SSL. Okay, this is actually a certificate that we created and attached to our server or the application level. So this will more secure our website. For example, now we are using HTTP. After installing and configure SSL certificate, we will use the same application using the protocol like HTTP. Yes, this is a secure version of HTTP protocol. So this protocol use port number 443, not 80. 80 used by HTTP only. So this is not secure one. For example, we deploy one application, okay, one sample application. Deploy a sample web app. So what we will do, the same thing, like configure a machine, VM, then install web server, any Apache or anything, then copy the application codes to the directory like www var www html, right? This path or this directory, we will copy our index.html file for the web application. So after that, we will use this machine public IP with any port number. If we have any specific port number, then we use the port number. So we can access the application. So this is not secure because the traffic comes to this specific application does not encrypt. If we use, okay, instead of HTTP, we use HTTPS, all the traffics are accessing our application is encrypted by our certificate, SSL. So the sensitive data or anything, the requester or the one who accessing our website, they can't do anything because all the traffic coming to our website. Okay, this is a website that belongs inside our machine or any container. So each traffic hitting our website, okay, all requests encrypted. For example, some data, password or anything, all the data comes and out using the protocol SSL and all the data encrypted. So whenever we go to any website, okay, we can see here like this is secure or not secure like that. So quickly we can deploy an application and I will show you the not secure, how that things shows in the web server. Okay. So now today we will go through first deploy a deploy some application. Okay, deploy some application inside a VM, and we will check the application is secure or not. Check secure or not. Then we will make the same application secure using SSL certificate. Anyone have any doubt?
No doubt.
I'm using Ubuntu. 22 is fine, the version. I'm using T2 medium. The machine is up and running. So I'm going to copy public AP. So it's actually connected remotely to my Newly server. Okay. Just update my package manager. So in our lab, what are things that we are going to do? We will configure a VM. Okay. So the second thing, install Docker. Okay. So in this lab, we didn't I mean go with a custom application. We can deploy two applications like Prometheus and Grafana. Okay. Just for like checking the security parts and all the things we can see. So third one, yeah, install Grafana and Prometheus. So the requirement is how to make Grafana and Prometheus. Okay, that's the requirement. So the fourth one, install SSL certification. So then we can check if it's secure or not. In between, we will use one thing like uh, in this what the requirement is. For example, this is our virtual machine. Okay, so here we will install Docker. So on top of the Docker, we will install two applications. One is Grafana and Prometheus. Both are running in different container. Okay. So this is a VM. Normally, how we will access the application? For example, Grafana default port number is what? 3000, right? And the Prometheus 9090 default one. So this is our virtual machine. The virtual machine have a public IP. So using the public IP, then the port number. Like if we need to access Grafana, then we need to use the port number 3000. So this will use when we accessing corresponding application in browser, right? And for Prometheus, change it to 9090. So the request hitting to our virtual machine port number 90 first, 9090 first. Okay, go through the 9090 of our virtual machine. Then it's routing to the machines. No, the machines 9090 is mapped with the container 9090 because Docker network, all the things are there. Okay, so it pointing to Prometheus. So this way the traffic goes. Okay, so in this case, what we will do, we will make more secure using a nginx reverse proxy. Okay, we already go through the nginx reverse proxy. Nginx reverse proxy. So what here we will do, like we configure a nginx here. Nginx we directly install the virtual machine. Okay, not creating any container. So first we configure nginx. Then what will we only expose? I mean, configure the nginx and we expose the nginx URL to the users. So, and what here, one more thing that we do here, like we create domain name. So in this case, we have two applications. Create two domain name, one for Grafana and one for Prometheus. And with the domain name, we configure the nginx. So whenever someone using the URL or the domain of the Grafana, so it comes like this, hitting our nginx, okay, and nginx routing to the corresponding application. If it goes to Grafana, then it pointing to Grafana, or Prometheus, then pointing to Prometheus. So what here the main thing is, we need to install nginx and configure accordingly. Okay, like some configuration parts inside the nginx. So I will show you all. Any doubt, anyone? All are good, right?
Yes.
Mahesh, Amol?
Yes.
Now we are on root. Sudo su and sudo su and sudo. Yeah, sudo su is fine. So first thing we need to install Docker, right? Because first we need to deploy the two application. So using Docker, we are going to install Prometheus and Grafana. So I'm going to install Docker pt install docker.io. So successfully install Docker. Now we need to install the application Prometheus and Grafana. So Prometheus and Grafana is publicly, I mean, that application image we can accessible in Docker Hub. Okay, so just to run that Docker image, that's fine. Docker run detachable mode, then the name. This is the name that we given to our running containers. Okay, so Prometheus, Prom is fine. Then the port number. The default port number for Prometheus is 9090. So this is the 1990 we are going to open virtual machine and we are going to mapping with the container 9090. Okay. So first one hitting to 9090 of our virtual machine. Then next hitting is inside the virtual machine, the container port. Okay. Then the image name. This is the image name. Prometheus. This is actually Docker Hub repository name and the application name. Okay. Username and the application name. So it will pull from Prometheus. You can see here unable to find image locally. That means this image is not existing in this local machine. That's why it's showing like that. So what the Docker will pulling from the repository. Show the application is running or not. Yes, the application is up and running. And we can do the same thing for Grafana. So the changing the name Grafana and the port as well we need to change. Grafana default port number 3000. So we open the 3000 host level and container level and mapped or binding. This is kind of a binding, okay? Binding these two port number with the two different sources. One is Docker container and host machine. So this is the username and the application name that belongs in Docker Hub. Grafana. So the both application is up and running. See, so how we will check the application, copy the public IP formation, then the port number, right? 3000. This will open the Grafana interface. This won't work because we didn't open the port numbers. So go to the machine security group. Edit 3000. This is for Prometheus. And I'm going to open two more port. One is HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP 80 and 443. See, 80 and 443. These are the default one. Save rules. And here come here and we can see the application. So here you can see not secure. See, this means this application or the website is not secure because the traffic hitting or coming to this application is not encrypted actually. So we need to do some mechanism for encryption. So that is actually creating any SSL certificate and attaching to our our application. So we can say our application is more secure because all the datas are encrypted. See, your connection to this site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site. For example, password or credential cards, because it could be stolen by attackers. So what we will do, we need to make secure. Okay. Same way we can check Grafana, sorry, Prometheus, 1990. This also not secure. So our requirement is to make secure these two applications. Okay. So what will we do? We need to install next server. Okay, like nginx web server. So go back to the machine. apt install nginx. So nginx is a web server, and the web server have some features like reverse proxying, load balancing, similar thing. So we successfully install nginx in our virtual machine. Okay, not use any container or anything. Then the next thing, we need to install certificate. So lot of free certificate there, like we can certbot. I think you have heard about certbot, right? Free SSL, certbot, different websites are there to provide free certificate. So only they provide one year free certificate. Okay, after that, some website pays or someone is free, I think. Then here we use Asmi, okay? So you can search Asmi GitHub. So this is actually a certificate management tool. So we installing this Asmi. See, this is the official page of Asmi. Just copy the GitHub URL and go to git clone tender. So we successfully cloned the repository here. See asmi.sh cd asmi dot. Okay, now everything is in here. So using this ASME, we will going to create certificate. Okay. So one more thing that we need to do, some dependency, one socket we need to install. Okay, apt install socket. So everything is fine. Now we need our domain name, right? Because we installed two applications, Cafe and Prometheus. So next thing is we need to install certificate. So whenever we install a certificate, we need a domain name. So we are integrating with our domain name when creating certificate. So we need to go for some free domains like duck DNS. Search duck DNS. This is a free domain. So this will give free domain for us. So you can log in with any of your credentials or see GitHub, Google. I will log in with my GitHub account. So here this is the landing page. So here we can provide the domain name, subdomain name. Okay. Here we can give any subdomain name, but this is our domain. Okay, duckdns.org. This one we change because this is free. Otherwise, we need to go with the paid one. Grafana and domain. These are already taken by another user. That's why we didn't get that thing. Okay. This Grafana we got. Okay. This will be our domain. Okay. After the configuration. And one more thing I'm going to Prometheus. Promo. Okay. Both are running. Both we will get like Grafana and Promo. So here we need to change the IPs. Okay. So this will be our domain name. I mean this name pp promo.duckdns.org. So whenever we using this URL, we will get our application like Prometheus application. That's a requirement. So here we need to change the IP because this is a not IP. This application belongs. So our IP is the public IP of our EC2 machine. Copy the public IP. Go to DuckDNS and update here. 32455. So see success IP is updated with the 243. Same for the Prometheus because both the services are running inside a single machine. So this part is done. Okay. So now we need to go to create the certificate. So there is a command to create certificate like asme.sh issue. Then the name of the domain. So first we are going to create a certificate for Prometheus application. Then we need to provide the path of our application. Var www HTML. This is fine. And now we need to specify our mail, okay, mail address because before expiring the certificate, okay, I think a free tier is 90 days only for a free certificate. So after or before it expiring, it will send a notification to this given mail address. Then we use different SSL provider. Okay, here we are going to use a provider name called Zero SSL. Similar like a Subbot and anything we can choose here. So it will generating certificate using these types of open source resources like zero SSL or support anything. Server. So we need to specify the server name. That is zero SSL. Now here we use zero SSL. Okay, this would be fine. Hit enter. Command not found.
It should be acme.sh.
ACME. Okay. Okay, sorry. This is actually a such actually. We need to run it like this.
That's right. It's a shell script. Okay.
Right. See, this is a certificate. And we can see here the certificate is the path of the certificate and the key path and intermediate certificates, CA certificates, and the full chain certificate. All the path we can see here. Just to copy, that's all. Because if I lost the connection, because these things we need to do when configuring nginx. So we need to do the same thing for from Grafana. So it will create two certificate. Grafana, and I think that's the correct one. Okay. D Grafana, 60. Okay, fine. So here you can see it will finding the URL and see verification, verifying grafana.tns of it's successful. After that, it will create the generate certificate and other things. So both are ready. Okay, both are done. Now our half part is done. Then next thing we need to configure nginx. That's the main part. So where we can find the nginx etc, right? cd etc nginx ls. So here we can see some configuration files and some directories inside the nginx directory. Okay, config d, site enabled, module available, nginx configuration, and all the things we can see here. So now we are going to configure the site available. Okay, so cd sites available ls. Here we can see one default file. So now we are going to create two file, one for Prometheus and another one for Grafana. Now we can use the same. name, because whenever coming to production, okay, like for example, in real world scenario, coming to the nginx configuration, there is a lot of files. So if the file have some unique name, we can easily find this configuration for the service, for the application, like that. So we can use the same application name here. Now, any name we can give. So I'm providing the same name, like grafana.org. So it will create a file, and inside the file we need to configure our like our configuration. So here what we are going to do is adding a nginx configuration. Okay, nginx configuration for HTTPS. Yeah, see, setting up an HTTPS server. So this is the configuration. Just copy back here, paste. So this is listening 443 with the SSL and the server name. So server name, we need to provide the server name here. Okay. So okay. So this is our machine. Okay. This is our virtual machine. So inside the virtual machine, we deploy to a container application, Grafana and Prometheus for all. Okay. So this is our nginx service. So this engine is inside the same machine, right? So this service can access these services within our same machine, okay, using the port number like 127.0.0.1. This is actually a loopback IP that exists in all the machines, because whenever we deploy some application in our same local machine, we can access the application using our loopback address. Okay. So in this case, the nginx can access using the loopback address with the IP 3000. I will show you. Just save and exit. How to access using curl command, we can access, right? HTTP. See, login found. That means we successfully connected with the Grafana. For the Prometheus, we'll check. We'll get a graph or anything. See, graph found. Because this Prometheus for getting the logs, graphs, and all the things. So this way, internal service communication with the internal services, like because these are services within the same host machine. That's why we will get the connection. So what we will do, we install nginx, right? Then we need to configure nginx HTTP request all the things and pointing to these URLs. Okay, and one for Prometheus. That we are going to do here. See here our server. Okay, the second thing, server name. So the server name should be the local path or the local URL we provide here. So this is for Grafana. So the name comes same URL we can give Grafana dot dns.org. Okay. So the next thing is SSL certificate. So I already copied that thing here. You can see. So here we have the path where the certificates belongs and the key, all the things. So just to copy the corresponding for Grafana and Prometheus from here and put it here, okay, on the configuration file. So we need to copy the full chain certificate. Okay, this is the URL. Sorry, path. So copy and paste here. Okay. Now the key. So key we can find here. Grafana key. This one. Copy and paste. Okay, that's done. So now we need to do one more thing, that is for the reverse proxy. Okay, so just to copy the syntax. Yeah, Amol.
Yeah, hi. How did you generate that notepad file with all the paths that you're copying right now?
This one, right?
Yes.
No, this is the one I copied from when generating that 2 certificate. Because if I lost this section, I can't find that path quickly. That's why I just copy. I will show you.
Okay.
This path we will get after configuring certificate. I mean, generating certificate. The first thing, this for Grafana. The second one for the Prometheus, where we keeping the certification, key, or full chain certificate, all the things.
So from that
I'll show
website,
you.
you generated those, and those
Right,
are
right, right, right.
okay.
Yes, yes.
So you're in a root.
That generated and keep in our local machine. This path.
Okay. So the website did that for you, put it on your local path for you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Based on the names of the domain name.
Right, 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 right. And you got it, right?
Yes. The software did it for you basically when you went on the website.
Ask me. Yes, yes. So now we are configuring nginx reverse proxy. Okay. So we need to add the passing a request to a proxied server. See, so this will passing these requests. So copy the these things and paste it in our same configuration. Okay, should be fine. And we didn't this thing. And here you can see the proxy pass. This is the path. Okay, and See, now hitting the nginx. Okay, so the nginx will do the proxy. So we need to provide the which proxy server we need to pointing. Okay, so here we can use the loopback with the port number. So the nginx knows this is pointing to the Grafana service or Prometheus service. So we just provide the local path HTTP 127. This is a loopback, okay, inside the machine. The loopback means a dedicated IP that for using for loopback. For example, we have laptops, right? So we can deploy our web application inside the within our laptop. And how we accessing our that application using loopback IP address. In coming to Windows, there is a web service IAS. So we need to configure IAS and deploy some application using IAS. Then we can access the application using our loopback address 0.0.1. This is a default loopback address for all machines. Okay. So this coming to here, we configure a proxy pass for Grafana, right? So we need to provide the port number 3000. Got it. So before that, I'm just copying and everything because shit.
What is the name of this file that you are? Is that your Docker file or server? That
Which
your
file?
this
Now
one,
we
the
are
server. Is that your like your? Is that like your Kubernetes file?
This file, right?
Yes, the one you have showing right now.
This is actually configuration file of nginx.
Okay.
So
but
we
is
install.
it a .yaml?
No, just a file. That's all. That file containing the HTTPS request and proxy pass because whenever we deploy an application, we need to specify the application details within the server configuration. I mean, web server configuration. Okay. So in this case, we have configure all the our application details using HTTPS configuration. So this is HTTPS request configuration we create inside nginx directory. So in this, you can see listening to 443 SSL, then listen, yes. Then the server name. The server name means our domain name. Then the certificate path, SSL path, because we are using SSL configuration here, because this is HTTPS. So we need to provide the certificate path, key path, and all the things. Then these things for proxying, okay, because this is not directly hitting our web servers. So we proxying our server and we provide the proxy. I mean the hidden server IP details here. So no attackers can directly hitting our finding our web applications because we use a proxy, nginx reverse proxy mechanism here. Got it.
So this is the configuration file of nginx, which you store inside the
No,
nginx.
this file we creating actually. Now we are creating this file. Not created, we can easily getting from the here. You see, type nginx https, then go to the fourth one. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So nginx SSL termination. Here you can see nginx SSL termination. Setting up an HTTPS server. To set up an HTTP server, if you in your nginx configuration file, including SSL parameter to listen directly server block. So this is the block that we use for our Grafana. So we created a file and include the block and provide the details of our application, server name, certificate name, key name, and we include proxy, reverse proxy configuration also in this file, and point into loopback 3000. That is how we accessing locally. I mean how the nginx locally accessing the Grafana application. Got it?
Yeah.
So save and exit. ls here. Before only one configuration file, now we have created one more file for the Grafana. So do the same thing for Prometheus. Promo.tns. Any name we can give, okay? But this will easily find because this is the configuration file of Grafana and use the tech DNS like that.
There is no dot between duck and DNS.
I will check. That means yes. Yes. So I'm do the same thing for the Prometheus, okay? So here we need to change the Prometheus configuration, server name, all the things, because the for Promeo using this thing name.
It's a server name to ppromo.
Right.
.org.
Then changing the path. So SSL
Certificate.
certificate. So this is for the SSL. Here we provide the full name, okay? Full chain. I think we used the Prometheus configuration for Grafana. We'll change.
Yeah, yes, we have used for Grafana for promo and promo for Grafana, I guess.
And here change the IP, okay? Sorry, port number 9090. So it will passing to the request to Prometheus. Save, exit, ls. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to change Grafana. Okay, this would be fine.
Taufik, can you go to the same Grafana file, config file?
I think one more thing we need to change.
One
Right?
more at the end, you have to change.
Yes.
That is pre-promo. Better copy and paste instead of changing only one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Key also.
Okay. Now we are good. So the next thing we need to go to site enable. Okay. Site enable. CD. Go back to the back. Replace here one more directory you can see site enable. So CD sites enabled. ls. So here you can see the default one and ls minus ltr. Here we can see the default is pointing to sites available. Okay, here this is a first site available directory. We configure our two files. Okay, so now we have to pointing to our files in this site enabled. Okay, so we need to do using link command. Okay, ln yes etc nginx. Oh, so this is a configuration file. Not the configuration file. We need to check the configuration file from. It's going to link with this enabled. Hit enter. Now we have to check the same thing. See, now this pointing to this configuration file. Do the same thing for Grafana. The file name is Grafana gg Fana. Like that. Fine.
What is the reason for needing these links to the files?
So it's otherwise it's going only pointing the default one. See, before it's only default one. Now we have adding these two files. because our configuration belongs to this file, right? So the Nginx knows that we created a file and the blocks for HTTPS, reverse proxying, and all the things. So the corresponding configuration hitting this Nginx configuration is pointing to corresponding sites. That sites we are created under the site available in configuration. Got it?
I'm not sure I understand why. So
Yes.
like if the link is changed, the original file also changes, right? In Linux, with the link command, the two files are um, they are actually the same file, but you can just access them from different directory
We can
paths.
add a different files and link. See, now the default is synced to site available default because in our site available directory, we can see a default configuration file there, right? So along with that default one, we create two files. That is Prometheus duck.org file and Grafana. That two files were including the configuration of our respective application, Prometheus and Grafana. After that, we need to come back to the site enabled and linking to those services. So in this case, we can see before only one, right? See, this is the first time we checking the linked one when entering the site enabled. So only pointing to default configuration file. That default configuration file you can see here where it is. See,
Can you scroll back
site.
down? ls dash la. So you show links, show a, so all files, and then what is T and R in the flags in ls? I forgot those flags. Type.
This one, right?
Yeah.
It will shows the linked resources in same directory.
Okay. What are the T and R flags? I forgot. Recursively. R is recursively.
This R is not recursive or anything. This will shows the configuration files that pointing to corresponding directory files. So in this case, first this promise DNS pointing to a directory site available. We are now in site enabled, okay?
Correct.
This directory.
Taufik, I have a question.
Yes.
Actually, the Amul question, I guess, is we are creating the config file under sites available folder, correct?
Yes.
So then we are pointing to sites enabled folder. Instead of creating a config file under sites available folder, directly, why can't we go and create under sites enabled folder? And is that the question?
We need to link that because these are two directory. One is site available and site enabled.
Okay.
So under the
Yes.
site available, we need to include the our application configuration under the site available. Then comes to the enable. We need to enable our available sites. So that two things we configure here.
Okay.
So that's why you need to have a link.
Right.
Okay.
That link pointing to site available. Here you can see.
Yes.
So is this to satisfy the browser URL requirements where something will go into?
Yes.
But from the nginx side, you have to have a certain directory structure, and from the browser window URL, you have to have some. Okay, so they're linked files.
Yes. After the configuration, we can check the configuration. All the configuration is ready or not using nginx test configuration. Nginx. Yes, everything is fine. See, if any misconfiguration within these files, we will get a failed message here. So we need to go to the corresponding files and check all the things. So everything is fine now. Then we have to do one more thing: reload the service. Okay. What is the difference between restart and reload a service in Linux? Any idea? Restart and reload.
Reload in the sense download and start from the beginning. Restart means restarting the config file which is already exist.
Yes, I think you changed the thing. Reload means reloading only the configuration file that we modify.
Okay.
Means it will reload the configuration file from start.
Okay.
Restart means the entire service will restart.
Okay.
In this case, we didn't restart the service because we changed some minor configuration in the configuration part. So we can go with the reload.
Okay.
These are the Linux interview questions like that is configuration file is reloaded. So now we can go and search. Okay. So now I'm going with this URL. Copy, applying cognate, paste. See, it's pointing to Prometheus. Now I am going with the Grafana. Copy. Now see, it's opening Grafana. And here we can see our website is secure or not. Okay. So click here. See, the connection is secure. And we can see our certificate here. So this is a certificate and the public key, everything is you can see here. And this way we secure our application. I mean web application using SSL certificate. One more thing I will check, okay, that is now we are opening the ports. Now I just closing and access. So edit inbound. I'm only opening port number HTTPS, okay, because that nginx only use this port number. I'm closing 1990, then 3000. I'll check, okay. So now only we have the 80. We didn't have the 80. Also closing 80. Only SSS and HTTPS. Yes, it's working. See. Now you all got the proxy, right? Because now the traffic's how the traffic goes like this, okay? Simply, I'll show you. This is our virtual machine, okay? So we created two container using Docker. One is Prometheus and this is Grafana. This port number is 3000. Container port, okay? This is 1990. So this is a VM. VM have an IP, okay? Public IP. So here we configure nginx, install nginx inside this virtual machine. And coming to nginx configuration, we use HTTPS request, okay? HTTPS configuration. we created the blocks, and including the blocks, we server name, we already created a domain for Grafana, and one domain for Prometheus. So include all the things in the block file. Then one more thing for the proxy, reverse proxy. So actually the outside people sitting only the nginx. Okay, not they will accessing using the URL like this domain name. Like for Grafana, we use Grafana domain name. Promises this domain name. Okay, so they assuming that they are going to directly hitting the services, but in background actually we configure nginx. They don't know the nginx configuration. This web server is in front of these services. Okay, because we are securing our applications. So they hitting to, I mean, their request hitting to nginx. So nginx taking the request, okay, and in nginx proxy, the reverse proxy block, we already include the IPs, okay, this local loopback IP that is hitting to our background application, like these applications. So if the domain is Grafana, so the Nginx knows the configuration file and checking all the things, then it's routing to the request to Grafana. If the request coming, request asking for Prometheus, then the Nginx pointing to Prometheus. So inside, okay, inside the machine, we didn't open the port number because before Nginx, how we accessing the application, we need to expose the port number of the virtual machine as well, right? We need to open the port number 3000 for accessing this application directly. So now we have closed this port number because Nginx can access this app services using loopback. That's why we closed 9090 and port number 30 in virtual machine level. For the container, it's open, okay? Container is open. And both containers running isolated, no connection, everything like that. Got it. So that's why we can access the application if we close the ports. Still is accessing. So anyone have a doubt?
No, no doubt.
Yes. Then everything is fine, then we can wind up, right?
Sure.
All of you.
Yes.
Amir,
Sure.
Amal.
Thanks.
Mahesh.
Yeah.
Have a
Yes.
good night, good morning, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Bye.
Then bye.
Yeah. Good night, all. Bye.
Bye.